A man asked me if I would be free to go on a date with him tomorrow. I simply laughed and said I'm not free tomorrow and I'm not ever free. I'm expensive every single day.
I started the egg freezing process. I did some preliminary tests which showed that my egg count is really low, and the doctors told me that the doctors did tell me that might affect my fertility. It's just so sad.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the desert. How do you like your eggs? Jokes aside, gentlemen, today is a special video because this woman happens to be the first one I ever covered. Now, technically, I covered first Lana Rhoades and how she scammed her fans with NFTs. That was my application for the Fiend Gang. And after the Fiend Gang watched it and said, holy crap, this has to be the best content creator. Your commentary is golden. Your humor is top-notch. You are the bestest ever. We immediately accept you. After all of that, they gave me to do a TikTok reaction video. And this one was the woman I first covered. The whole video was about her. Now, I intended to play some footage of that, but it's very cringe. I don't know why I sound like a 12-year-old. So we're not going to do that. But gentlemen, don't let me get off of the topic. The topic is, this is where we are, right? You saw where it started. This is where we are. So let's watch this again, gentlemen. Then we'll have a comment.
I started the egg freezing process. I did some preliminary tests which showed that my egg count is really low. And I know a lot of women struggle with this. I had a ovarian surgery last January, and I knew that I have endometriosis and I had like a giant cyst on my ovary, and the doctors told me that the doctors did tell me that might affect my fertility, but we didn't even start like the actual egg freezing, so it still might be that my eggs are high quality, but there's just not a lot of them. It's just so sad. I've been like crying the entire day. And you know, people say like, oh, you're not alone, this happens to so many women, but I mean, it feels very alone, lonely. I don't know. Like, I just feel this giant pain in my stomach right now. How's your day going?
Now, the pain in the stomach thing, maybe you went to Taco Bell, and it's a different sort of pain. Oh, but jokes aside, gentlemen, let's go back to main topic that is a serious topic, because this creator, Coco Beauty, one of the most famous ones, by the way, not to trash talk her or anything, mock her or something like that. Her content is mostly humoristic. Now, she still believes that narrative, you know, that men have to put us on a pedestal and worship women. She still believes in that. But at least she's not like, I don't know, she's not annoying about it, you know, trying to make it in a humoristic way. But this is how it happens. Like 2.5 years ago, when I started this channel, she was on top of life, you know, very attractive, a lot of men after her. I think right now she has a boyfriend and she's finding problems to have a kid. So this is something that we see in women often, right? They are very narcissistic. They feel like everything is in the grasp of their hands. They are attractive. They have power. They are famous. They have a lot of people. When I say they are famous, not necessarily like a rock star will be, but rather they have people available all the time. They can do whatever they want, right? And so they get up on this train that they think will lead them to happiness, the train of feminism and hedonism, and it leads them to this. It leads them to, wait a minute, I've wasted so many years, and what have I achieved, you know? Where does this train end? Where is the last stop? So this is something that I think, guys, it will crumble down. I honestly think that we are about to witness in a few years the downfall of feminism. And a downfall that is for good. As let me play some gameplay while I talk. In fact, Ampu, come and join us. Yeah. So I think that feminism is about to end, gentlemen, because we have all these dating coaches, you know, that keep spreading that message of, well, you gotta be on top of life. Look at all these men. You gotta use them for whatever you need, you know. And women are following along their steps, but it's just give it a few more years, and all these dating coaches and relationship coaches, you know, all the different 15 breeds of them, they'll end up single, alone, bitter, and miserable, and unable to have kids, right? So, do women want to follow that path? Because look, you may say, oh, but feminists are stupid. They are. They absolutely are. But people live for the sole reason to be happy, right? And no matter how misguided they may be in the philosophies that they follow, when they are miserable, they don't like it. They don't like living that life. So I think that even the most stupid feminists will come to the conclusion that this is just a destructive philosophy, you know? And we have this with generations. Like, feminism has been widespread for how many years now? Maybe half a century or so. And we're about to witness the downfall. And when you take a look at generations, you always have this where one generation does well, the other one messes up big time. Then another one does well, another one messes up big time. So around the First and Second World War, you know, that periods, life was hard. People needed to be together. There was this emphasis on the family, on traditional values. They were still around, you know. And so that is why the baby boomer generation came to be. That is how. Because they were booming in kids, you know, like everybody was having kids, and this whole focus on the family, traditional values. And baby boomers, to be honest, guys, they just messed up in a lot of aspects. Now, I know some people watching are of that age. I'm not talking specifically about you, but rather about the generation as a whole. You know, baby boomers were the ones that followed down the hippie movement, which the hippie movement essentially is a hedonistic movement, right? You know, just, oh, live day by day, don't care about nothing. It's all about happiness, peace, and all that. And they were the ones around that time that it was that generation that sort of had it good, you know. And what they did was they increased the divorce rates in a really big manner. You know, Gen X, a lot of them, their parents are divorced. And so they took this good thing that they have from the previous generation, and they went into this whole hippie thing, changing a lot of partners, sleeping around. You know, of course, that is on a generational level. Again, there are, of course, always people that don't follow down that path. And so after that, you had Generation X, and it's where the feminism started. And then you have, well, now Generation Z and all that. And you have people still, you know, doing the same things that the hippie movement did. Now, the hippie movement is not around anymore, but you have the same philosophy, you know, just sleep around with multiple people. You can exchange them all the time. There's no problem about it. And it's mainly women that follow down that path because they just have the option to do so. And they go, they have their fun, their hot girl summers, their club nights and all that. But we're seeing, right? And this is something that we've always known and we've been telling women, but they just couldn't care less. Well, now life is showing them, right? So our voices weren't enough, but life, reality, they always win. You know, these women reach the wall, they end up single, and when it's in low numbers, they try to not care about it, right? You've heard these dating coaches say how, oh, well, the wall doesn't really exist, you know, it's a red pill narrative that try to bring us down and all that. But when these same dating coaches are becoming single and hitting the wall and ending up miserable, well, what argument can you make up then? You know, this is something that I brought up with Taylor, and we had a conversation about it. I asked him, do you think that feminism will end? And he said, well, it might end, but another ideology will replace it, because these people will still want to live their hedonistic lives. And I agree. I think that feminism will end. And yes, there'll always be another philosophy or ideology so these narcissists can, follow. But I think that on a societal level, the big scale picture, I think that people will turn away from all that crap. They will come to realize, whether they like it or not, that it's not a good path, and they will stop. They will stop to follow those ideologies, So what do you think about that, gentlemen? Do you think that will be the case? And also, another question. What should the manosphere do about that? How should we react, or what to think about it? Well, gentlemen, you may think that I am obscene, that I hate these women or something. I really don't hate them. I would want all of them to be happy. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that I don't like seeing the consequences of their own actions. I think it's only fair. So it's not like I regret the fact that I mock them on a daily basis. No, but if you were to ask me, right, if I had to choose between these women being stupid feminists or being traditional women in happy marriages, I will choose for them to be traditional women in happy marriages, I don't wish them bad. I hope it wasn't the case, So how should we react to all of this? Well, I think, gentlemen, that we've reached a point where we can no longer simply turn a blind eye, and say, oh, well, let's just take all these women back, Oh, you've been partying all throughout your 20s, and now you've hit this epiphany phase, Oh, I realize my mistakes. Please take me in. No, I don't think we can do that, right? I think it will be even if they really have come to the conclusion that the things they did were bad, excuse me, even if it's an honest take, I wouldn't take them back just like this, because again, it's a high risk, and you're not a savior. You're not here to deal with them or save them. Now you can help them. You can say, well, welcome to the reality club, but when it comes to romantically, I'm not taking you in. But it's just, as this monster got me a bit distracted, sorry, gentlemen. It's just the fact that these women, they may come to this epiphany phase, gentlemen, and maybe the next generation will be brought back to reality. But I think that we, as the manosphere, like, that is our job, like, maybe you could make an argument that MTO doesn't really care about what's going on, that MTO is like, well, I'm just out here doing my thing, and I don't really care about all of you and what you're doing. But I think that the manosphere in general, as a whole, I mean, we do care about women, we do care about relationships. I think that most of us, we don't want to simply do our own thing and leave these women to rot, because it's not simply about women. It's about future of humanity, really. It's about, well, if you have kids, what are you leaving to those kids? Are you going to leave the dating world as it is? Like, you've struggled and you've seen how bad the dating game is. Do you want to leave that to future generations, even if it's not your own children? Are you just going to leave this hell to future generations? What will come of that? Because it's true that people always, well, not always, but most of the times, they become the people that raise them. So if you have a single mother that doesn't really put emphasis on raising her child properly, in a lot of cases, those children will become single mothers or deadbeat dads, or they won't know how to raise a family. So it's something that even if you're not in a relationship, this whole fight of feminism versus traditionalism, it's something that we are leaving onto future generations. And I think I'm about to jump from this cliff. Not a bright idea, gentlemen. But hey, going back to the point, let me know what you think about these guys, because something big is about to happen. And I think that we, in some aspect, have won this battle, you know, because it's again going back to that question of what should we do as part of the manosphere, you know, what is our job, what is our duty? Well, I think that simply standing in the corner and laughing at them is not the answer. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I do this on a daily basis. I don't regret it. I just think it's not the answer, right? So we can have our laughs and all that, but when it comes to a solution, I think that we've won, because we've been out here talking about this and talking about how feminism and hedonism, this approach to life where you don't care about your future, you don't think about your future, we've been right all along. You know, we've been right in that it's not our preferences. It's not just simply that, oh, you have these very dumb preferences. You know, you want a wife that is virgin, never touched a man, never glimpsed in the direction of men. It's like your little stupid preferences. It's not preferences. It's following reality. And reality is that when you have a hedonistic approach to life, you don't make for a good significant other. You don't make for a good mother. You don't make good for, you know, being part of a family. And we were right all along, wouldn't you see? You know, it's so sometimes, guys, it's so tiring to be right all the time, you know. But aside of that, I think we have helped, you know, with the manosphere. Like, a lot of people think that we just simply hate women and we are out here venting. No, we are out here sharing a message, and this message is becoming more and more popular. Like, when you think back, gentlemen, when I started this channel, that was just 2.5 years ago, there was a really big distinction between red pill and blue pill. I don't think that blue pill is a term that exists anymore. I don't think that blue people exist, or if they do, it's in so small numbers that you cannot really call it an ideology. The red pill has become mainstream. You can see that memes, they are the best way to, you know, sort of take a look at what a culture or country or something believes in or makes fun of. And the memes, you have all these people that wouldn't call themselves red-pilled or aren't in any way, shape or form part of the manosphere. They all, you know, sort of make fun of the idea that single mothers that have been messing around for the last 20 years want to be taken seriously. Everybody's laughing at that. Everybody's laughing at that stereotype because it's idiotic, you know. And everybody is laughing at these women that party around and then want to be wifed up like they are the most traditional person in existence. Everybody's making fun of that. And these guys that are making fun of it, again, they're not red pill. They haven't even watched one video, probably. It's become part of the mainstream. It's become part of the general consensus, ideology, call it whatever you will. So we have achieved that, you know. Me, you, all the other content creators, maybe some, you know, some dudes from the red pill, some dudes from black pill, maybe some dudes from the purple pill. Manosphere in general. The manosphere has made a cultural win, a cultural victory, because our ideologies, our way of perceiving things, which is not really our way, again, we're just reflecting reality, but, you know, the things that we've been saying have become part of the mainstream, and people on a massive scale have realized that this is true. And even women, guys, even the feminists that were, you know, the last domino to fall, even they are coming to the realization that, you know, I've been messing around, I've been following this narrative that I've been told is empowering and liberating, and look at where it's led me. I no longer have kids. In the case of this one, for example, I can no longer have them. I've waited for too long, you know. In case of some other women, maybe it is, well, I thought that I can have my cake and eat it too. I thought that I can just mess around and then Prince Charming will come to save me on his white horse when I'm done, but it didn't happen. So no matter how blinded they are by feminism, no matter how destructive of a philosophy they follow and for how long, they inevitably learn the truth, you know? So gentlemen, we'll be leaving the video right here. I just thought that this is a very important topic and one that is quite, this is a milestone, you know, in the manosphere. We have achieved this. Again, we have brought this victory. And give it a few more years, gentlemen. I mean, I've been around for 2.5 years doing this stuff. Maybe 2.5 years more, maybe 5 years. It's not too long in the future, you know? But I think that feminism will inevitably collapse because it was always built on the wrong preface, I think you call it. It was built on the wrong ideas. So, gentlemen, let me know what you think about all of this. Congratulations on our victory. And I hope we can shortly reap the rewards that, you know, Gen Z is having it hard with dating. But I think the next generation, I think Generation Alpha is called, I think maybe they will have a brighter future. Because on a societal level, women will come to realize that I don't want to be part of that. I really don't. I'm seeing all these people struggle and suffer, and I see that the consequences of following down that path are bad. I mean, think of it, this is how the red pill came to be, right? You had this generation of men that were marrying single mothers and marrying divorcees with, you know, divorced 4 times. You had all these men taking in women that belonged to the streets, trying to save them, and all of them suffered. And you had this group of men that said, hey, wait a minute, that's not the path to go. You know, and they started talking about it, they started sharing it, and it became a narrative. So I think the same will happen with feminism. I think that our voices will mix with those of many, many others that are just learning about this, that are just finding this to be the case and finding it to be true. And I think that our message will become the current narrative. So again, gentlemen, let me know what you think. Thank you for joining me and Ampu, and I'll see you on the next one. By the way, join tomorrow. Important news. Have a good one.